just stay standing. Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. There's no need for the first executive session, so we'll move right on to the district reports. Superintendent report. Dr. Magano.
I have a short report. We had the drug dogs here last week, and I think there were 8 dogs, and they found a little something, and we're going to be doing it again at least one more time before the end of the year. COVID, as you know, is declined in its intensity and frequency. Masks are no longer required on any of the children or adults. Some of our kids do wear a mask, and that's fine. And the other kids are told not to say anything to them, because if they want to wear a mask, they can wear a mask. You can identify with that.
Yes, I think it helps, Dr. Magano, that some of the adults are wearing it so the children don't feel.
Yep. We have a budget vote and a lease vote and a board election coming up in May, and it's going to be important to get people out to vote. The percentage increase is going to be less than 1%, and the lease is for new buses. The lease is up on the current buses, and as you know, we don't have kids that walk to school. They all come on the bus, so it's important that lease get approved. The new signs are going to be installed in front of the high school and the elementary school on the 16th of March. The elementary is scheduled for 10 a.m., and then they'll do the high school. I think that's all I have.
Any questions for Dr. Magano from the board? All good? Very good. Elementary, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Halleck. Attendance continues to rise at Mackenzie Elementary School from our low point in December when we were virtual for that week. We're now up over 92.3%, which is a stark difference from last month. We continue to improve our academic outcomes. We're receiving data for our winter STAR assessments, and we'll continue to do that with the spring assessments coming up. State testing, we're preparing for our ELA assessments at the end of the month. We're using computer-based testing, so it'll be given on either the 29th and the 30th, or the 30th and the 31st. We're creating a catalog of clubs for the spring for all grade levels. Odyssey of the Mind competed last Saturday, March 5th. We were the only team from Sullivan County to compete in Region 5, and we look to improve our standing next year. The Cornell Cooperative Services through Sullivan County BOCES 4-H program has begun work with our first graders after completing it with our kindergartners, and we'll move to our second graders after spring break. And we have a film workshop to begin with the 4th grade on the Erie Canal starting in April. The main entrance sign, we're just tweaking a couple of details on the main entrance sign we'll have in front of Mackenzie, and the padding for the playground unfortunately is going to be in the next couple of weeks, but now with the snow that we had yesterday, as well as the upcoming snow on Saturday, we'll most likely delay that a little bit, most likely into April. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions from the board? None. All good? Very good. Moving on. Secondary principal report.
Attendance for the junior high school also continues to improve. Our 8th graders and 10th graders have showed marked improvement. So now you've got 12th graders that are kind of falling off a little bit. So they're definitely in a race with our 8th graders. We have also completed this past week another round of progress monitoring student academic growth with STAR pass range. We continue your focus on the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. We have seen an increase in our Tier 1 students, an decrease in Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, which is a good thing in reading and math, and will continue to grow. There will be another round of progress monitoring through May. State testing for ELA will take place at the end of this month on March following this challenge of taking a college level class here at Eldred. We do have a lot of upcoming dates. Tomorrow, the seniors are getting measured for their caps and gowns, so that is right around the corner. On March 21st, we are having Eldred. They are a indie pop rock band that's coming in and talking about food choices. They're presenting the 9th and 12th graders in the morning. In the afternoon, we're actually going to have the 5th grade and 8th grade for a presentation that's geared toward them. And then March 21st at night, we're going to have a community concert here at 7 p.m. So please join us. We have 2 dances coming up. March 26th, grades 9th through 12th, they're having a spring fling. April 8th, the 6th through 8th graders, we invited the 6th grade. They will also have their spring dance. And then we are doing the ASVAB on March 29th, 2:15 in the afternoon for any student, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders that are interested in taking the ASVAB. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Tracy. Any questions from the board for Tracy?
No.
All good, very good. Junior, senior high school student report. Owen, you're up, big guy.
We on? There we go. How we doing? So I have quite a couple things to report on. First, our 8th graders are fundraising Krispy Kreme donuts throughout this month. The money that they raise will go towards funding the Washington trip in May. As Ms. Ferrero had mentioned, the senior class is doing a spring fling dance for students in grades 9 through 12 on March 26th from 6 to 10 p.m. The PBIS and SAD Club are working together to hold a youth health summit on Wednesday, April 13th. EPAC will be presenting an evening of live music in cabaret style featuring the songs of Stephen Schwartz. Details are still being ironed out, but we will be performing live and in person, so no more filmed virtual show, which is very good news. We are aiming to perform at the end of April and just working out the fine details, but the show has been cast and rehearsals will be starting soon. This afternoon, the senior class hosted a school-wide volleyball tournament. 10 teams of students and teachers competed against each other. Team Votech came out on top with each teammate receiving volleyball championship medals. To continue on with sports, the ski club had a very fun season and hopes to have everyone back next year. The archery club will be heading to Syracuse for a state tournament next week. The team is very excited to compete in an actual event. And lastly, the senior class has raised enough money this year, well over $6,000, to travel on an overnight trip to Baltimore, May 16th and 17th, an amazing feat for the smallest class in recent history, if I do say so myself. After we finish paying for the trip, what is left will be used to pay for yearbooks, the senior dinner, and any crazy other things that may pop up. And with that, I conclude my report for this month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Owen. Any questions for Owen from the board? All good, thank you. Director of Instructional Support report. Scott, you're up.
Yes, thank you. I have just 2 things that Caleb will probably talk a little bit about this maybe at another board meeting, but we've been selected to do a desk review for our federal programs to determine how our funds are being used in Title I, Title II, Title IV, and our homeless education. So that is quite a cumbersome task to draw down our funds and share with the state ed of how we're using them. I'm correct about that, Caleb. And the second thing is that we're part of the National Center of Rural Education. We were assigned as part of our participation in that group to launch a post-secondary entry intervention with our 12th graders. I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to work, but in essence, what they're looking at is that we're providing here at Eldred a lot of accommodations and success for our students as they leave Eldred to go on to college, the military, a job, or whatever their post-secondary career is, so that we're providing them the resources that are necessary. So they're going to look at how we're doing that and provide any type of interventions or suggestions that would help us do that better. So those are our 2 items, and I thank you for our evening. Any questions?
Any questions for Scott from the board? No. Okay, very good. Thank you, Scott.
Welcome.
Caleb, you're up, business office.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the stuff that doesn't require a projector, because I can get that done real quick. One of the lists was the Title I desk review, which you already covered, so I don't need to do that again. They'll issue any kind of corrective action plans they need, and it's just an audit of our program in Title I. There's a cafeteria grant that we're going for, somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $10,000 that they'll cover for equipment. We're gonna look for a new dishwasher. The school lunch program, after speaking with Jill, the high school now qualifies for the CEP program, so it does look like we're going to have all free lunch again in both buildings next year, under the regular federal program, not the COVID one. So that's good news. I was going to touch on the bus lease. Dr. Morgano already touched on that, but I will add in that the bus lease is expected to be within a couple $1,000s of what the last one was. We were paying $266,000 a year. Now it looks like we're going to be paying $270 a year, which is not that big of an increase after 5 years.
That's because we're ordering one less bus, right?
That is correct, and it's also because we locked this rate in all the way back in August before some of these massive supply chain issues occurred. So we locked it in at those rates. As far as what has changed in the budget I presented to you last time is largely the same. So as Dr. Morgano pointed out, it's going to be a 0.9% tax increase. That's what you're going to see on your average tax bill. That amounts to $28 on a $200,000 home. So we're trying to keep that number down for people because we know inflation is insane at the moment. That's just a breakdown of kind of how we spend our money. Again, new ELA program, enhanced professional development. We're doing the expanded program, after-school programming. I believe Michael's talked about some of the clubs that they're planning on doing, and he had some students in here that are doing Odyssey of the Mind. Those are some of the additional things that we're adding. And of course, we're going to maintain all of the new programs that we've added over the last year. As far as safety goes, you're going to notice that we've had monitors out in the hallways, we had monitors on the buses, and Jed has been continuing to upgrade our security system. We've been doing that in pieces, but it's all designed so that it can be upgraded each year under that same system. As far as the facilities, we talked about the bus lease. There's new audio-visual equipment. Actually, I believe Jed said that should be installed sometime in the next couple months. There's a STEAM lab that will probably end up done sometime next year. Replacement of technology infrastructure, we're going to continue. Repairs to the parking lots, we've done yearly, and then maintenance of all of our required stuff. So the school taxes are going to be below 1%. This will get put up online just so people can see the comparison. This is last year, this is this year, so you'll see like in Highland, it's going up 14 cents per $1,000. Which is, relatively low tax increase. Some of the challenges that we have the year ahead that we're going to work around, and this budget takes these things all into account, so it's not something unpredicted, but the challenges that we have, our health insurance went up 7% this year. It's going to go up 140 grand. Workers' compensation went up 30%. That went up from 145 to 190. Fuel costs I don't have the new fuel bid yet. We've contacted the bidder. They have not put it out yet because of the current crisis that's going on and the costs are through the roof. But we're only paying $2.20 a gallon. There's no way it's going to be anywhere near that next year. It could be as high as 50%, so I'm preparing you ahead of time, and it's budgeted for that. If it comes in under, great, we got a little extra money to run with. Our state aid ratios went down from 41 to 36%. The result of that is that we're getting about $100,000 less in state aid than we did the year before. We're not making out quite as well as some of the other school districts are. Supply chain issues, they're going to continue. Things that we order aren't going to come in for months. I'm still waiting on a wireless system that we ordered 8 months ago. And then your run-of-the-mill high inflationary costs. On the positive, they did give us a 3% foundation aid bump. We're going to have grants, some left over from COVID, that are going to help us bridge that gap. And we're not going to need to invest too much in capital equipment next year. We've replaced virtually every technological thing that we can. So you're not going to have those kinds of big equipment costs. And that's all I've got. That's the only thing that's changed on that.
Okay, any questions for Caleb about the budget from the board? Well, good, thank you, Caleb. Good job. We hosted a Narcan training here a week ago, Saturday, I think it was. and a couple dozen people showed up, and it was a very good training. And I think some of the training, maybe we should lean towards having the kids be involved in it, because it was an hour and a half long, so it kind of got detailed. Amador and myself showed up for it. Caleb was here. I know I could speak for the board, I know I could speak for the administration. There's zero tolerance for drugs in this school. There's zero tolerance in my life for drugs. My kids knew it growing up. And this board, whatever we can do to make it better, and if of course help the kid or save one or two kids, I think it's worth going through. So I know our SRO officer was going to look into it. We had a discussion after the meeting here. So I think it's a step in the right direction. And we'll take all the preventive measurements to stop the drugs in the school. So just wanted to put that out there. Okay, any public comment on the consent agenda items? Just on the consent agenda, any public comment? All good? Very good. Okay, moving on to appointments, the consent items, right? So I need a motion to approve 501 through 804. Nancy made the motion?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion on any of the items on the consent items? Any discussion from the board at all?
No.
Nancy? Okay. Yes? Vote? Yes?
Yes.
Amador?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All yeses for the records. Any old business to come before the board? Any new business? Second public comment on what everybody would like to talk about. All good? Okay. Our next meeting will be held at 6 p.m. Tuesday, April 26th. Put that on your calendar. Due to a BOCES change in their schedule, we will be meeting April 26th. It's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. here. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for contractual reasons and personnel. Nancy made it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming, and I intend to have no business when we come out of executive session. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on, I got a walk-on to do, hold on. That's right, I do. Thank you, Caleb. I forgot about the walk-in. Okay, real quick. Be resolved that the board hereby appoints David Stein Esquire as the hearing officer pursuant to New York Civil Service Law 775 regarding disciplinary proceedings against employee number 01447 to hear evidence, make arrangements for a transcript of the proceedings, and to issue a written report of his findings of a fact and recommendation regarding a disciplinary penalty, if any, to the Board of Education for its review and determination of the case, and be it further resolved that the hearing officer shall be compensated at the hearing officer's daily rate on file with the American Arbitration Association for the services rendered in conducting the hearing and reporting to the board as described above, and be further resolved that the Board of Education hereby suspends employee number 01447 without pay for 30 calendar days period commencing on March 11th, 2022, and then with pay during the pendency of these proceedings, if during a time when the employee would otherwise be entitled paid. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Okay. Now I'll take a motion to adjourn. Go to executive session. So we're all good.